Defenders, cool. Midfielders, 50-50. And attackers,
it's been terrible. This is the thing. This is the thing. The outrage. I can't believe the outrage is more, yeah, on Madueke than Kai Havertz. I know that sounds. I know there's gonna be there's Havertz hiding there, but I think it was more unjustifiable bringing in Kai Havertz in for the money we brought him in for and the salary he was on, compared to what we're seeing for Noni Madueke. In my opinion, it's
the most argued against move since Havertz. The thing about Havertz, it came after our first title challenge where, you know, we've got a bit of a spring in our step. And by we, I don't mean me, because you know what I thought about Havertz from the beginning. But in general, the club, the fans had a spring in their step. First title challenge in how long? Real, you know, title challenge. It looked like, you know, we should have won it at one point, look, considering how, you know, often we was top of that league that year, 200 and something days. So the Havertz stuff was lost in and amongst the Rice stuff. The first title challenge on don't get it twisted. It's as bad, if not, you know, when you look at the Havertz cost in total with the wages still, you know, on the books, and you look at a couple of players, including Jesus, and you're looking at us again jumping through, because that's what it is, bro. You know, we've got a certain budget again that we have to make, you know, do with. That's all these men are doing.
The outrage. When we went to sign Kai Havertz, I couldn't believe it. That one I think was more shocking than this one. We haven't signed Noni Madueke yet, but I still think that was way more, deserves way more outrage than what we got.
The timing, bro. We felt very different after the 22-23 season. We felt like we were back in the big time. We can start talking about league titles now. We feel like we're on the cusp of it all falling apart. Just 2 years later, yes, but that's how quickly football moves, especially when your players are just signing 4-year contracts at a time to assess the situation, like a Van Persie did once upon a time, Sanchez did once upon a time, or Fabregas did once upon a time, and so on.
That's. I think the outrage is a bit over. I was more frustrated at Havertz than this Noni Madueke stuff. That's why I'm just like,
yeah, of course. But this one comes on top of that now, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why it's worse.
Okay, I hear that perspective of it, but still, like,
not worse, but you know, it hits worse.
It hits harder, yeah, because we've done it before. Okay, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, where was this outrage before for when we signed Havertz? I don't get it. I think some people going too far. They've messaged him directly on Instagram and stuff and being actually abusive.
Many more people were trusting the process 2 years ago. That's the only difference.
Manta says, Cecil, the thing is, it's our last year to get it right. That's why Havertz didn't feel as bad. We are still making the same mistakes. Turkish, I think this is what you were trying to say. To your point, this is what you're trying to say.
Ultimately, if we don't win something this year, something, you know, big, tasty, then ultimately it does all come back to what was the turning point, and the Havertz one would have been the turning point. After that first title challenge, you go and do something like that, you know, and you get closer, but then you fall off further. You know, that will be the one that, you know, we look at. But he's right. The reason this one's more emotional is because, you know, we've become accustomed to being back challenging again. We want to win it now. At that time, we wasn't used to challenging for a title, and we had just done it once. So we was like, all right, Rice is coming in. Havertz is a bit of a shock, but let's see what. Remember that whole let's save him, let's save him, let's save him.
Yeah,
Remember all that?
Yeah.